Hello everyone, this is Chantel from Peaceful Living in H, and today we are going to transfer this tree right here, fig tree. It's a hardy Chicago fig tree, and it's supposed to survive our zone, and it has for several years. I think this would be its third year now in the ground. But the problem with that is every year it dies completely back to the ground, and then it comes back from the ground like a perennial. And we don't want that because it makes it really hard for us to get fruits off of it, and this is the reason why we planted the fig tree, because we wanted the fruits. So I want to transfer it and put it in a pot. So right here with me I have this big pot, and I'm going to transfer this tree into this pot, and I'm going to be doing some root pruning probably on it because it has been in the ground for 3 years, so I'll probably need to cut up some roots off of it. And you can still see the shoots are still green and viable, but every year this happens to them. This year I didn't actually cut this off. They die back all the way, and it acts like a perennial. And these are some of the fruits that it was growing, and we didn't actually get to eat any of them because they didn't mature. And because of that, I'm going to be transferring it into this pot over here. Hopefully I won't trample these poppies, but I'm sure they have seeded themselves already. This area is a total disaster over here. This is in my vegetable garden. This is what I do. I know it's messy, but I'm putting down a lot of things that I'm just like kitchen scraps and stuff like that, and I'm going to be covering them with cardboard whenever I can. I hope I can do that before the snow arrives, but probably not. We'll see, because I'm still working on the apiary. Also, it's 37 degrees outside, and I know that's probably not super cold, but it gets really windy over here, so it makes it feel super cold. It feels like a 20, and my hands are freezing, so I'm going to try to hurry up. But before I do that, I need to go change the batteries on the camera. And today, for reference, I believe is December 3rd, 2021. And we're uprooting this fig tree. Let's see if I can actually do that, and if the ground is not fully frozen yet. Nope, it's perfect. It's not fully frozen. Also, quickly before I start, I just want to say that this is the first time I've ever attempted anything like this before. I've never tried growing anything in the garage. I have grown things in our house, inside our house, and I'd say in this house I wasn't very successful at it because we don't have direct sunlight, and so now I just try to grow things that love the shade. And I can't put a fig tree inside our house because then I would have to get grow lights and all that, and I just don't have the space or the system for it. So the nursery that we got this fig tree from, the owner of the nursery had a huge pot with a really healthy fig tree outside the nursery. I mean, right when you got into the nursery where you want to order this stuff. And I was thinking of buying it, but they told me that's the owner's fig tree. But it was super healthy, and they told me also that the owner leaves it in his garage during the winter, and I asked, doesn't it need light? And they said, no, you don't even need to water it. Now, I'll probably check on it every couple weeks or so just to make sure that it's not dry, because I don't want it to die. And I'll see if it needs any water. It would probably not need as much water as it would if it were inside the house. Or like in the summer. And in general, fig trees don't need too much water, especially when they are fruiting, because their fruit would just split open, and it wouldn't be as sweet. It would just taste bland. So My parents actually never watered their fig tree, and they always did great. My grandfather, I think he probably did water them a little bit, but not too much. His fig trees were just amazing. He had the best figs ever, and I wish I could grow figs like my grandfather, but we don't have the environment for it. Oh well. Anyways, actually a lot of my inspiration comes from him and from my parents, especially from my grandfather, because of just how really he enjoyed living life in his garden, and the peace that he had, and just living that life. And part of the reason why I named this channel Peaceful Living in H is because, as a tribute to my grandfather and all the things that he had just displayed in his life, and his love for the Lord, and just his joy and his peace. And I'll talk maybe more about this in a different video, but for now let's continue with digging this fig tree up and taking it to the garage, because my fingers are freezing and I always have cold hands. So let's move on. Pretty close, because I want it to fit in. So I'm going to try to dig pretty close to the roots, because I want the tree to be able to fit inside the container that I have over here. And if I dig too far away, the tree is probably not going to fit in there. And I also bought some soil, some potting soil to put in with the tree, but I'm not going to add it into the pot right now, because I want to be able to easily transfer it. The tree is going to be heavy as it is, and so I will fill the pot with the potting soil as soon as I get close to the garage. And of course, I ran into a rock. Whoa. Seriously? Looks like I'm making some progress. Oh, so many rocks. Look at this. Crazy. Poppy. Poppy right here. I'm gonna poppy the poppy. So I know that tree growers, when they transplant huge trees to plant them on site, they prune the roots of the tree. So some root pruning is not harmful. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be pruning the tops of the tree a little bit, so that it doesn't have that much to support with its already pre-pruned roots. I'm damaging the poppies a little bit, but it's okay. I could just replant them somewhere else. Anyways, this whole area is going to be redone. It's full of weeds. Not a big deal. Okay. So I'm thankful that the roots are not that big still, which makes it a lot easier to remove. If you've watched my video where I have removed the crabapple tree stump, you see what kind of roots I ran into. Now that tree is very old. It was planted by not the previous owners, but the owners before the previous owners. So that has been in there for many years. And it just had gigantic roots. There we go. Making some improvement. I'm going to go a little bit close over here so that I can lift it up. Let's try over here too. More rocking. So, if you didn't know, I actually grew up in Lebanon, and I came to the United States when I was 23 years old, and I grew up with my grandparents, or I should say my grandfather, doing a lot of gardening. He basically lived in his garden. He grew tons of plants, tons of trees, and he just loved gardening. And my parents also did a lot of gardening. My father had a full-time job, and he also would go and plow people's fields after his work hours, and then they also grew a lot of food to sell. They at one point had greenhouses. Anyways, so my love for gardening comes from both my parents and my grandfather. My grandfather has went to be with the Lord in 2006, and I greatly miss him, and I often remember him whenever I'm gardening outside. Does it have a taproot? Do you have a taproot? Oh, that's not good. I see this root girdling up here. Oh no, it's a good thing I'm taking it out of here. Here, let me show you guys. See that? It's going around on itself. That's pretty bad. Oh, I feel so bad chopping all these roots, but I have to. Oh, so many rocks. I'm both thankful. I'm both thankful, and I hate the fact that we have so many rocks. Because every time I will go to dig, it makes it so difficult. And at the same time, I like to line a lot of my flower beds with the rocks. So it's both a blessing and a curse. I guess though, after a while of working this land, eventually I'm not going to have any rocks. So a few more years of this, and I won't be running into this problem. So let's just be thankful. It's a better attitude. Oh, I see. A lot of roots are on the bottom. Should have probably brought my pruners. Yeah. I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna go grab my pruners. So the hardy Chicago fig tree is supposed to survive zone 6 fully and live on to be like a tree. But in our zone 5 climate, it just dies back to the ground and then comes back again from the ground every year. Now, I'm noticing that it has a really big, thick taproot. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever done anything like this, but I am going to cut it. I'm pretty sure that it can grow other roots. I'm going to remove any weeds off of it. I dug most of the tree out. There are a lot of roots that are left in the ground, but I try to take as many of them out as I can. And you can see here the girdling that was about to happen if I just have left this in the ground like this. So I'm going to unwind these roots and try to break up their habit, so that they don't cause girdling and cause the tree to die. So it's a good thing that I dug it out of the ground. Some people keep their tree indoors, but like I said, I don't have the environment for it, so I'm just gonna put it in the garage. I'm gonna put some dirt around it and I'm gonna water it and it should be good. So I'm gonna put it in the pot right now. Now I'm going to fill up that hole over here, and this area is done for now. I'm not going to do anything else because all this is work that needs to be done in the spring. I don't want to dig anything out. I have a lot of other chores that I need to be working on, and this is not one of them right now. This is on the least of my chores because these are the areas where I plant my flowers in the vegetable garden, and I can work on that in the spring or during the summer. I have other flower areas that I'm working on, and I need to work on my vegetable beds before they completely freeze. And also I was thinking I still have carrots in the ground that I haven't dug up because I haven't been able to get to it. So maybe I should just try to dig up some carrots and take them inside, wash them, use them, and freeze dry a lot of them, because I think that's the best way to preserve them. I haven't freeze dried any carrots before, but so far everything that I have freeze dried I have liked better than the canned stuff, except of course for beans and stuff like that. I've never tried to freeze dry that stuff. Maybe one day I will, but I think that I'm gonna like the canned beans better unless they're green beans. So what else I was gonna say? I forgot. Anyways, let me clean this up, dig up some carrots, and then let's go pot this tree. So obviously I'm gonna have to bring more dirt into this area, but I'm not gonna do it now. I can do that in the spring because I need every ounce of dirt that I have right now to pot up this tree and anything else that I might want to pot. Okay, let's go dig up some carrots. This right here was my carrot and red bean bed, and obviously I haven't been able to get to the carrots at all, so now I'm gonna try to dig them up and see what I get. Let's see. What do you guys think? Would I get any carrots? I honestly have no idea. for reference, this vegetable garden over here has a very bad soil, and this year my focus is going to be on bringing a lot of compost in here and bone meal and all that good stuff, and mulching it and all that, so that ow, my fingers are freezing, so that we can actually grow food in here, because every time I've tried to grow food in here so far, it hasn't been successful. And I've been putting a lot of compost in here. Everything that comes out of the kitchen is coming in here, and I put also some cow manure in here when I planted, and next year I'm gonna bring some more manure, I don't know what kind, or compost, anything that I can get my hands on. I'm just gonna put it in here. Also, the soil here is very acidic, so one of the things that I'm gonna be doing, which I need to put on my list so that I can remember, is putting lime in the soil. I'm not gonna do any measurements or anything like that, but when I did measure the acidity level of the soil, it was around 5 point something, I think, which is pretty acidic for most vegetables. Very few plants like this kind of acidity. You see what I'm talking about here? So it makes absorbing nutrients from plants really difficult. If the wind lets me talk. So obviously I also didn't thin these carrots because I didn't have the time to. Anyways, something is coming and eating the good carrots. Look at that. Every good carrot. So small. This is the smell that made me fall in love with gardening. The smell of the fresh carrots coming out of the ground as you pull them. Oh, it's just so nice. And I remember the smell since I was 3.5 years old, and I visited my grandparents for the first time in their house. Well, it wasn't their house. It was during the war, right after the war had ended, and we stayed with them for a while. And the first thing my grandfather did was take us, my brother and I, to his garden, and he gave us some of his carrots. And when I smelled the carrots coming out of the ground, and I saw all his plants that he had, and I saw the bunnies hopping around in his garden. He was also raising bunnies. I just fell in love with it, and I guess I was always interested in it, because I remember when I was very little, like I should say I was 4 when that happened. Yes, when I was very little, though, maybe like 3 years old or so. I remember the people that we were renting the house from were growing something in their garden, and I was asking my mom, can we grow something, because I saw their garden, and I just always loved plants. But definitely that moment with my grandfather is really what made me truly fall in love with gardening, and his love for gardening. Oh, look at this one. That's a big one. His love. Oh, the groundhog already got to this one. His love for gardening, and the way how he spent his days in the garden is just my main reason for doing what I'm doing today. That and the health benefits and self-sufficiency and all. Oh, look at that. So I was digging using the shovel. Then on this side, I noticed that it was pretty easy to dig them by hand. Of course, when I say that now, I can't dig these up by hand. Right? When you say something, you can't do it. There we go. Oh, I got them. Even though they're pretty small, I can still use them. I guess they're sort of like baby carrots, you could say. Oh, come on now. Don't do that to me. These might not be actual carrots. I think they're Lady Anne's lace. Yeah, they're wild carrots. Oh, well. You know, the groundhog always picks the best stuff to go after. Oh, it drives me crazy. So I have, they're all scattered everywhere. I gotta go grab them. My fingers are freezing. I have some over there also next to the camera. Oh, not much, but it's better than nothing. Oh well. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this tree out of here and I'm going to fill the pot halfway full with soil. Poppies. And I'm gonna grab some tree tone and I'm going to put it into the pot over here and mix it with the soil. I'm using the Espoma fertilizer, but you can use any fertilizer you want. And I need something to open it. Oh, this would work. Now, normally you're not supposed to do this for trees that are, you're not supposed to fertilize trees in the fall or in the winter, really. We're practically in winter right now. But I'm doing this because I just pruned the roots of this tree and I'm going to be pruning the top of it. And I want to give it the best chance at survival. I wanted to put all its energy into producing more roots. And to do that, I need to provide it with some sort of nutrients. I know a lot of people who use biotone, which is supposed to increase root development. I don't have that on hand, so I'm just using what I have on hand. I have this tree tone that I use to fertilize my trees with, and now I'm going to mix it in with the soil, and I'm probably going to be putting a little bit on top as well. Because this tree is going to survive in this pot for a long time, God willing, and I want it to have the best chance at survival. I'm going to try my best to unwind these roots and spread them out to prevent girdling. And you want to bury the tree. If you are doing this, you want to bury it at the surface that it was buried before when it was planted. You don't want to bury the trunk because that's going to cause rot at the trunk and the tree is going to die because of that. So I'm just going to bury it up to here where the roots are, and that's it. So where I want to put it is about right here. I want it to be about 2 to 3 inches from the top of the pot, and yeah, about this much, so that I could easily water it and there wouldn't be any water runoff. And if I want to mulch it, I have the space to mulch it as well. So I'm going to open another bag of soil. Here. If I had someone helping me, I'd have them hold the tree for me right where I want it to be, but I don't have anyone helping me. I'm going to try to do the best I can over here. And I'm going to add more soil than I think I need, because when I water it, it's going to press down, it's going to compress, and I would have to add more soil. So, oh. I'm just gonna take the soil off. I had the tag. I think I buried the tag in my rush because my hands are freezing and I just want to finish doing what I'm doing. That is frustrating. Where do I want the tree to be? I think I want it to be straight also, so about here and about this deep. Okay, so I'm gonna press down and I'm gonna remove any dirt that's not where I want it to be. It has pretty shallow roots too, so I think I'm gonna be safe to have the dirt up to here. So I'm gonna water it and then I'm going to fill back with some dirt. Before I do that though, I need to put some more fertilizer. And I'm going to mix it in with the surface of the soil just a little bit so that the roots can get to it. Oh, the wind blew dirt in my eyes. That's not fun. Ow. Let's see. Did it freeze yet or not? We'll see. Whoa. Oh, my kids always do that to me. There. This is what I want. trying to remove the dirt from around the bottom over here a little. And I'm going to try to soak it pretty good because the dirt is very dry. Now let it sit and absorb the water. The ideal thing that you would want to do is to moisten the soil first and then do what I'm doing. But that would make it really heavy and cold for me. And right now it's freezing. My fingers felt like they're about to fall off. And my toes, because I've been outside for a while. So I just rather do this instead. And it's absorbing it pretty well. I'm going to water it until I see water run from the bottom, and this way I know that all of it is wet. And then I'll just leave it in the garage, but before that I'll prune it. And maybe I'll water it just a few times during the winter, just so that it doesn't dry out completely. I'm going to give it a little more water. Okay, so now while the tree is absorbing the water, I'm going to prune the top, and I'm going to put it in the garage, and later on if I see that it needs more water, I'll water it because I don't want to risk over watering it. I know I said that I want to water it until the water runs at the all the way through the bottom, but I'm concerned that if I do that I would end up watering it too much, and then that might cause root rot. So I would rather underwater than overwater when it comes to fig trees. Just from what I know about them, from where I grew up, from my parents' experience and my grandfather's experience, is that there are trees really that don't require that much water. We do get a lot of rain in the winter over there, but in the summer it's very dry and parched. It is humid, but the soil is very dry. So maybe it needs to go through a dry period, not totally dry, but maybe that's beneficial for it, I'm assuming, just because it comes from that kind of an environment. You know, most fig trees do. I'm not so sure about the hardy Chicago fig tree though. Maybe it is adapted to the environments that we are in more. I don't know. But I'm going to kind of run off of instinct here. You can see I cut about a third of it, and if I get closer, these nodes are where the figs grow on, because the figs actually grow directly off of the stems, as you might have seen a little earlier at the beginning of the video. So I just wanted to have some fruit next year, and hopefully we will. Hopefully it will ripen up and be ready for us to eat. So for now, this is done. I'm gonna put it in the garage and call it good. Also, I just wanted to show you guys, you see this hydrangea over here? It was doing so well, it was happy. This is an Oakley Hydrangea. And the deer came and ate tons of its buds off already, and I'm so sad and disappointed, and I'm hopefully it will bloom next fall, because this Oakley Hydrangea blooms on old wood. So I'm really disappointed. I knew that deer eat hydrangeas, but I really love hydrangeas, and I'm so sad. And I have chives over here, that's embarrassing. I did harvest a lot of them, but they grew back and then they flopped. But look, I mean, the deer just come and eat everything. When they're hungry, they just eat whatever they can. So, oh well. So, anyways, this is all for today. Now I'm gonna go wash the carrots, and I'm gonna make some hot chocolate and warm my fingers up because they are totally freezing. I can't feel them. They're hurting, actually. Not that I can't feel them, they're hurting. They're so cold. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to share. Also, don't follow us on Instagram and Facebook and Pinterest and all the places that we're at. I'll put the links for all these things. Also, one more thing, I did release a new cookbook with 10 gluten-free recipes in it. If you didn't know, I create gluten-free recipes, and you can find this cookbook on my website in the store, and I will leave a link for it down in the description box below, and you can get it today. If you sign up to my email list, you will get 25% off. So go ahead, head on if you are a gluten-free person, and grab your cookbook today. So I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.